Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 11. Today, we're going to do a recap on the argumentative essay. There is a separate revision process, which we won't wholly be going through, but I will introduce it. And then I'm just going to introduce the TED Like Talk assignment because that is our next big assignment. Okay, so the recap. You have to turn in your full drafts by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. A lot of people have turned them in. Some people were scrambling. I understand that you guys got your feedback. That turnaround was really fast, so feel free to revise, resubmit, even if you have turned it in. I know I sent an announcement about that. Whatever draft is submitted last, that's the one I will read, and I will read them starting on April 2nd. The revision, I don't expect a full revision of this assignment. If you do not like the grade that you get near the end of the semester, I'm going to go over a revision opportunity for this essay. You may look at that revision sheet if you want to before I introduce it. It's listed under major assignments as revision argumentative essay. So you can go ahead and look at that, look at the sheet, but essentially that revision breaks out parts of the rubric, and whatever parts of the rubric you lost points on, it asks you to do specific things, like maybe rewrite a paragraph or redo a citation. So instead of rewriting the whole paper to get credit, it's really focusing on whatever comments they gave you if you want to. That is optional, but it's not like any of the other revisions before where you just kind of redid your assignment. So you can look at that if you want, but these grades will be coming in and we'll be turning in these next projects. And so it's just to hopefully like lighten that load of, the paper is a big deal. Can you up your grade without having to do a whole ton more work, right? So really good job. The hardest part of this class should be done. That paper that we've been working for the entirety of it is hopefully, if not turned in, getting turned in real soon.
Okay, so we're on the Canvas page. This is the major assignments. Obviously, you can go to TED Like Talks. This is the revision assignment that I was just talking about. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can right there. But we are obviously going to be talking about TED Like Talks. So week 11, we have this assignment. You have a lot of TED Talks to watch. The reading question has to do with the videos. So that's what those are doing there. So let's go to the TED Like Talk. It's a discussion post because all of your classmates are going to be able to see your videos, okay? So the rules for this are upload your TED Like Talk to the discussion post. It can be difficult depending on the size of the content, so have a plan for how people are accessing it. I suggest uploading it to YouTube and providing a hyperlink, but maybe you can upload it directly to Canvas, depending on the size of the video and the quality. Just be sure for those be prepared for those technological challenges. Then you're going to watch all of your peers' presentations. These are between 6 and 8 minutes, and there are, I believe, 19 of you. There might be 18 now. So it's a good chunk of time, but this is like what you'll be doing that week, right? You'll be watching those, and then you'll be responding to 5 of the presentations. Okay, so again, this part of the semester is really about engaging with your peers and their content, giving feedback, and just seeing what everybody's created, okay? So this assignment is going to be due April 12th, and then a week later, your responses are going to be due. So April 19th is when those responses are due. For the rubric, the presentation length should be between 6 and 8 minutes. The content of the presentation has a clear, coherent message, and that message should flow logically and naturally as you talk. Presentation connected personally with your audience through stories. The TED Like Talk presentation refined, re-envisioned your project to be an idea worth spreading to the specific audience of your classroom. Your idea worth spreading made sense in terms of your audience, okay? So this is really about turning your paper into a quick talk, right? And having that talk be worthwhile and be geared towards our specific audience, right? So there might be things in this class that people would understand or relate to that people outside of this class wouldn't, and you're allowed to do those things. For the actual presentation, this is like me reading and notice, or not reading, sorry, me watching you guys and making sure that you are presenting in a professional manner with a clear, confident speaking voice. It shows evidence of rehearsal. The presentation was not like read as a prepared speech, but you can rely on note cards if you need them, or slide cues or things like that. But it should look like you know what you've been talking about this whole time, and you should be trying to engage with that camera lens as much as possible. And there's the format of the presentation. Your presentation clearly incorporates or mimics the elements of the genre you choose to present in, i.e., TikTok might include trends, slideshows might have a theme, a podcast might have intro music, right? Whatever form you decide for it to take, the presentation should be clean, thought out, well organized, and attention to aesthetic should be kept in mind, right? Like it shouldn't just be shoved onto a white background, right? This is professional. You're encouraged to watch all of your peers' presentations, and you can respond or just react, like heart as many as you like, but you have to respond to at least 5 videos, 10 points per response. The responses should be thoughtful, in-depth, and engaged. Think the positive peer review feedback from DePeter. You guys did a really great job of engaging with your peers in the half drafts, so just keep doing that. So this is like the outline presentation, and I'm gonna say some things that aren't necessarily written on here, I don't think. Well, it is, but I'll be more specific about it. But this assignment will be a TED-like presentation related to the research and writing you've done all semester. Your presentation should be an engaging, standalone talk aimed at sharing the ideas and opinions you have cultivated throughout the semester on your topic in a persuasive way with your class. In keeping with the principles of presentation that make TED Talks so popular, your presentation should focus on an idea worth spreading and share that idea in a fresh, engaging way that connects with your audience. Okay? So, you're going to watch a bunch of TED Talks this week, and you're going to tell me what you think they're doing and how they're doing it well when they're presenting. Why are they presenting the way they're presenting? Things like that. But TED Talks tend to be from really informed people. They tend to be memorized. They tend to have, an idea that you can leave the audience, or you can leave the presentation being able to do something. So this is really focusing on like the so what of your argument and the actionable solution. Like, what can your audience take from your presentation that they can like get up and do right now? Or what could they go tell somebody to do, right? To help fix the problem you've identified. So this will be a multimodal presentation of your choosing. Doing a slideshow with voiceover or a recording of yourself speaking works very well and can be professionally presented. If you would like to do an informal version of this presentation, like make a TikTok, write a blog post, craft a podcast, etc., you can ask for permission. You honestly don't have to ask for permission. I'm okay with this turning out in any creative way you would like it to, as long as you're adhering to the genre guidelines, right? So if you give me a TikTok and it's presented like a professional lecture, that's not going to make as much sense, right? But if you're engaging with the tools of TikTok, and the way that you might see another TikTok and mimicking that genre, so happy with that. If you think it's the best genre mode to get your idea out there, right? So like, why would you choose a TikTok over a blog? Well, maybe you're talking about recipes in some form, so that might be closer to a blog post. And maybe you are talking about dance in some way, and the visual video in TikTok could help that better, right? Maybe your main audience uses TikTok. Maybe most of your main audience would listen to a podcast, right? So, thinking of those things to decide which one you want to do. You are welcome to do any of them. I am not going to explain these tools to you very specifically. I can if you ask me to, um, and I can give some options of ways to engage in these different things, but you're the one deciding how much technology you know and how much you want to engage with it, right? So if you've always done slideshows, maybe you're just going to do that because you don't want to spend the time learning a new thing. Maybe you're supposed to learn, maybe you already do podcasts and you already know how to use a podcast form, right? Great, then do that. I'm happy to give you guys activities, tips, tricks, but for the most part, I'm trusting that we have access to YouTube and Google, and you guys can make something professional and multimodal. Um, Creativity is encouraged in how you would like to disseminate your idea, right? So this doesn't have to be stuffy academic. I would like you to list your sources in some way. Try to like put those, if it's an end credit slide, something, but we should know where your information's coming from in some sense. Um, for the form, it can follow the requirements above and be inspired by the idea of what TED Talks do. But again, it doesn't have to be exactly like a TED Talk. Um, just think about the purpose of them more so than how they present. Okay. The challenges here. You have spent the whole semester researching and thinking about your topic. The key to doing a great job is to take this assignment as seriously as you've been taking all the written work in this class, and to make sure you spend enough time not only developing your presentation, but rehearsing it so that your delivery of it goes smoothly. Your idea worth spreading should be addressed to your classmates and teachers, arguing that coaches should be better trained to spot steroid abuse in athletes, for example, may not be relevant to your class. What can your audience do about that? Re envision your topic based on your audience and what you'd like them to accomplish, okay? So, that was very long winded, but that's the deal. Um, so obviously we have some official TED Talks to watch this week. Looking forward to next week. Next week you can watch presentation examples. Now, of course, you can do this whenever you'd like. So I encourage you to look at these for getting ideas if you don't have any. These were done when I had in-class presentations. I hadn't taught online yet, so the pre-recorded ones are a little not fully polished, I'll put it that way, because they were exceptions, but it's nice to have something. So this is a transcript of somebody's live presentation. She wrote it all down and memorized it. So if you want to see how somebody talked about something, this is a podcast. Two of my students decided to collaborate and they made a podcast together and they talked about each person's idea for 8 minutes each, right? 6 to 8 minutes each. So if you want to collaborate with somebody in this class, you can reach out to them. You can find their email. You can ask me for their email. See if they're game, and you are more than welcome to merge two topics. These people picked pretty unrelated topics, but they did a good job trying to merge them. You might have similar topics that you'd be interested in. But yeah, so that is always an option if you want to work in groups. Just double the time, right? So for each person you should have another 6 to 8 minutes. This person chose to do a Google Maps presentation because they talked a lot about, I think they were doing queerness throughout time and geography. And so they decided to do a voiceover presentation. So the audio is not on here, but you can click through what they put on the presentation. And then we have just a couple slideshows with video, things like that. And then finally, this one just has to upload a little weird, um, but there is a TikTok example. So it's in multiple parts because she couldn't get it to email to me or upload, right? So we're trying to prepare for technology, and she had this issue where she couldn't get it uploaded correctly. So each of these parts is a minute of her TikTok video, and it's all the same person, same project. But you have to come up with how you're going to upload it, right? So she chose to do a TikTok, and you can see her like engage in some familiar TikTok choices, stuff like that. Um, so you're more than encouraged to watch those as soon as you want if you're confused or want inspiration. Um, but that is what next week holds, and then it will be due, and you will be watching each other's.